Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ali and here I just talk to myself about books, and then someone, maybe you, may want to watch this at a later date. Yes, this is the exact same setup, the exact same clothing as the last video because I have filmed back to back and I don't care because I'm behind because last week I got distracted and also deleted some footage. So today we're going to be picking out my February TBR. Let's get started. So as I mentioned in my previous video, which is my 2026 reading goals video, I am going to be reading all the series I already currently own in their entirety, whether that be they're all completed or I own every published book so far. And to do that, I'm going to be using this trusty little book pot. I have put all the series I have on my shelves, on my book cart, in there, written on a paper slip. I'm going to pick one out and then we'll pick out a couple of other books. Now I will say for February, whilst I do have a very ambitious January TBR and I am like over halfway, but I do have quite a couple of huge books left to read before an event in February. So I will probably have maybe one if not two books left over from a January TBR to read in February and also to read the first half of February. So I'm going to be a little bit more not as ambitious for February, also because it's the shortest month, and pick out a few less books. So this will very much depend on what series I pluck out of here, how many books there are, and therefore how many books I think I can pick out either of my shelves or of my book cart. And to do that I will use my reading prompts from Illumicrate. Okay, so here we have the book pot. I'm gonna shake it up. Actually, am I better to pour it out? I don't know. I want to like make sure I don't just pick ones that are at the top and that they've actually mixed a little bit. And if I don't want to read the first series I pull out, I can do one more pull out, but then I have to read that one for sure. Okay, so series for February 2026. Oh, it's a huge one, but it is one I wanted to read, and that is the Lady of Darkness series. So let me pull it down. Okay, these were right at the top of this shelf, so I had to pull them down. But here we have the Lady of Darkness book series. I have the first 5 books. I don't know how many there are scheduled to be or if this is it, but I have the ones that are currently published. So that is Lady of Darkness, Lady of Shadow, Lady of Ashes, Lady of Embers, and Lady of Starfire. I've heard really good things about this series. I am hoping that it will be on the same kind of vibes as like Tog and ACOTAR in terms of found family, like different circles, etc. Some romance, but not it be like the main focus of the story. So we'll see. I've heard good things and I'm very excited to read it. So kind of glad I pulled that one out. Less glad that it is 5 books and I do potentially have another 2 books also to include in February. So I'm really going to have to get my butt in gear and read. However, I will be somewhat ambitious and pull out one book, because these are not special editions, one book from my bookshelves that is hardcover or special edition. So that is some books here, so just the art series, and also at the top there we have a bunch. And to do that I'm going to be using my trusty Illumicrate prompt cards. So let me just get them out. Just realised I didn't even read you the blurb of the Lady of Darkness series, so let me do that first. So, a cage. Owned by a ruthless assassin lord, Scarlet Monroe and her 2 sisters are the most feared trio in the continent. They are wild and unpredictable until a tragic night finds Scarlet locked away in a noble's household until she's ready to fall into line. Finally, Scarlet is presented with a job. If she completes the assignment, her payment will be something she has coveted for 10 years, revenge against the Fae Fire Prince who brutally killed her mother 10 years ago. But when children begin disappearing from her home, all her plans are put on hold as she races to save them. With the help of her old friends, a jilted lover, and a mysterious newcomer who claims the magic of the Fae as possible in mortal lands, Scarlet delves into the darkest corner of the world. Forgotten secrets come to light, and she discovers the darkness extends far beyond her own kingdom. Sounds good. Okay, right. I'm only going to be picking out one book, so I've got to make it count. I've got to make it count. Okay, I'm shuffling just to make sure you see I'm not cheating. I say cheating, I don't know. But anyway, right. So, a book with a one-word title. Let me pull down what I have available. We'll go from there. Okay, I have 4 options for one-word book titles out of my special editions. Here they are. Now, first of all, we have this stunning edition of Shogun from The Broken Binding by James Clavell. I really want to read this, but I'm going to eliminate it right away because it is a huge book. The writing is not that big, and I don't think, given the fact that that's a 5-book series, I will probably also have a couple of the Ryan Cahill books left, which are like 800 pages each, so I don't think I'll get to this. And this one is also, how many pages? Oh God. Over 1,000. So I'm going to quickly put this one back and maybe choose one of the other ones. But I do really want to read this at some point. Then we have Voidwalker. This was actually on my December TBR. I ended up not reading it, so maybe I do need to pick this one up again. I just wasn't really in the mood and also ran out of time, and I didn't end up picking it up. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone talk about this. Maybe I need to review the people's like reviews of it and see what I think. I do think it's stunning. I love the like comic book-esque pictures on it. And this is an option. Other option is the first book I got with the Page and Wix subscription, which I am a little torn about whether or not I'm going to keep, but I'll wait and see what the next few picks are. And this one is also very pretty. I think this one might be a romantasy. So when Nazara, reluctant heir to the Kingdom of Zar, enters a deadly tournament to escape a betrothal, she's determined to win without taking her life or succumbing to the addictive spirit magic she channels. But finding herself outmatched, Nazara must team up with Dagon, an enemy who is half ghost and all charm, to survive the tournament. Dagon, the last king of Zar, was killed by Nazara's father. Now he is able to phase between his human spirit form, but is stuck in another realm, hunting wretched souls. When his keepers offer him a chance to reclaim his freedom in exchange for Nazara's soul, Dagon takes the deal. There's only one catch. She must freely give it to him by the tournament's end, or his own soul is forfeit. So yeah, I think this is definitely going to be like some sort of romantasy. It's got really pretty edges. And then the other option is one I've had for a long time, but it's because I've been waiting, because I'm like, I know I will love it and I don't want to read it and have to wait like years for the next ones to come out. But that is Air by Sabaa Tahir. I loved An Ember in the Ashes series. I'm actually making my friends read it because I enjoyed it so much. And I ended up getting this special edition by Fairyloot. And it came with the, what are they called? Overlays. With the overlays. Which is stunning. But yes, this is set a number of years after the end of the events in An Ember in the Ashes quartet, and it is set in the same world. We do follow a character we have already met, but I don't think you have to have read that first one to be able to read this one. It just is linked, so you could read both and then it would give you more context. But this one does follow a few different characters that we may or may not already have met, and the world that we very well know. However, as I said, I really don't want to read this because I know I'm going to love it, and I know that then I will be like very upset that I don't have book 2 or 3. I'm guessing it's going to be a trilogy, I don't know, to read right away afterwards, and I hate having to wait long time, especially for fantasy books, because I tend to like forget like really small details that then are very vital that you don't know are going to be vital until you start reading the next book. So with that in mind, I'm going to put this one back. Although no, I know I would love that. Which leaves me with these two options, Voidwalker or Vesselless. I'm pretty sure I've read the blurb of Voidwalker a bunch of times, but I will reread it, or partially reread it, because it's half the story on there. So 5 fairies stolen magic between worlds, stockpiling funds to keep her village free from the blood sacrifices humans have paid to Antal's immortal species for centuries. Only legends whispered through the pine forest recall a time when things were different, before one world shattered into many and the flesh-devouring beasts crept from the cracks between realities, with their sable antlers and slender tails, lethal claws and gleaming fangs. Now mortal lives have become food for to pacify their carnivorous overlords, exchanged for the precious silver energy that fuels everything from transport to weaponry. When Fee is hired to smuggle a bomb into the capital, instinct tells her the risk isn't worth the pay, but the entreaty of a long-lost flame guilts her into accepting, until the heist goes horribly wrong and she finds herself thrown at the feet of the raiding immortal as payment. There's another half of the blurb to go, but I'm not going to read it. I don't think I'm in the mood for this one right now. So, because of that, oh my god, this got a cute little picture, I never realised. That is so cute. Like the bound letter. I don't know. I feel like I would enjoy it, but I'm not overly in the mood for this right now. Not really in the mood for that one either, am I? I am really torn. I've also just remembered that I actually agreed with my friends that we would read this one, so maybe I will actually ignore these two. Maybe I'll put it as a backup if I do have time. So as a backup, if I have time, I will read, oh, which one's longer? That one's quite a lot longer. Okay, so if I have time before the end of February, I will read Vesselless by Courtney L. Wynne. However, one book that I just remembered, me and my friends who all have the Illumicrate subscription said we are going to read in the next month, is The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovolino, which I've heard amazing things about. I'm super excited to read this. So actually this will be the extra book that I pick out on top of the Lady of Darkness series. And I also just remember that I have another book to read for book club. Luckily I've already read one of them, which is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. The other one I will need to read is Project Hail Mary by, whatever his name is, what's his face? I don't remember. This one. Andy Weir. So I do also have to read this, but I'm hoping that I can actually listen to this in the car tomorrow, because I've got quite a long drive and I've heard the audiobook's pretty good. So I am hoping that actually I'll get to this before we finish January, but we shall see. So with that in mind, I'm just going to quickly put this one back. That was 8 minutes of deliberation. Wow. Okay, so this is... honestly, I need to really listen to what I'm saying. I said I wasn't going to be overly ambitious, but here we are. This is my February TBR. So we have Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which I'll be reading for book club, the sci-fi and fantasy one. I do also have another book club meeting next month, which is for book lovers, but I've already read that, so that's not an issue. I will then aim to read the entire Lady of Darkness series from book 1 to 5, and to be able to chat with my friends, I will be reading The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovolino, which I'm really excited about. I've heard good things about. Then, if by some miracle I manage to read that entire stack, I will also pick up Vesselless and see how I feel about this. I am also this year going to be a little bit more pro DNFing books, and if I don't like them, I will donate them to somebody who does. So, yes. Potentially this one if I get to it, and hopefully main goal is to finish off the Ryan Cahill Bound and Broken series, and maybe pick up another John Gwynne book as well, because I'm really loving his writing. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do pop a like, and if you would like to see more, please do subscribe, and I will see you soon.